Nobody wins when the family feels.
Me, I let go 100, some shot before they get close to me. Sliding by myself, ain't around that way if you ain't on no gangster shit. When you don't miss up on no missions, I'll be on some blanket shit. Then put doors in rubber bands. I can't sign, let the see figures, and I need that in the vein.
Relax those conditions and tell us to go back. We're going to let you go back to being a fully fledged person with no restrictions at all. Go to work when you want to, go shopping when you want to, leave the county when you want to, go to other places when you want to. Are probably aware that Memphis, Shelby County, Tennessee is the first most violent metropolitan area in the country. This case has generated a substantial amount of publicity. And if you're running around free in Shelby County, Mr. Govan, knock on wood, somebody might be trying to kill you, sir.
Important. To what degree does what Cornelius is saying differ from what Govan is saying? Pay attention to that.
Fam, life been lifing. If you're not new to the channel, then you know. We normally stay on top of these trials. I haven't been up on the YSL. It's been going longer than expected. But we got 3 platforms, or 3 channels. And I gotta put this one to use. Today, we're gonna talk about day 1 of the trial and the demise of young Dolph. Day 1 was 8+ hours long. We're gonna try to get all key information under one. September 23rd, 2024, Justin Johnson, aka StriaghtDropp, the alleged aspiring rapper, first day in trial. Fam, to say we learned a lot is an understatement. We also have been confirmed on some things we already had knew, which is the obvious. Unfortunately, young Dolph had a hit on him for $100K by the one and only CMG Big Jook, who looked up to older men, or to an older man who gave him hope and really ain't had nothing to show for himself. But before we go over this one, I want you guys to remember, I don't give you no angle, I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We're gonna jump right to it. Fam, we're gonna chop this up to 4 to 5 segments. Of course, I'm gonna lead you guys through each part. Key notes I wanna point out that the judge had made, so we don't gotta really play it. It would be no transcripts after each court appearance. I'm not sure why. Also, no witnesses will be shown on camera. Now family, for those who don't know, this unfortunate situation happened in Orange Mound in Memphis. Of course, StriaghtDropp Justin Johnson pled not guilty. Now to really put things in a dumbed down perspective, a man who provided for so many lost his life while getting 3 cookies. Now it's been 3 years since we lost the late Memphis rap legend, young Dolph. May he rest in peace. I love condolences to his family. Now in this first clip, you're going to hear prosecutors give you step by step young Dolph walking inside Mandika's Cookies on November 17th, 2021. It was 12:21 p.m. And for those who wasn't aware, Marcus Thornton has been confirmed as the man who was with him the day he lost his life. Check it out.
And welcome to Memphis. 2 things first. I told you last week, there's going to be cameras, there's going to be TV cameras, you hear them clicking, you know right now. When you stood up to take the oath, you probably heard them clicking too. But like we told you last week, and what the judge has instructed each and every one of them, is they cannot film y'all at all. When those cameras were clicking when you stood up to take the oath, they were taking pictures of the judge. As I'm talking to you now, they're taking pictures of me, but not y'all at all. Not at all. Second thing, like I told you last week, we don't have the big windows looking out into the city. We don't have the fancy wood benches in the back. Our room is 1/3 of the size of what we were in last week. That wood behind you is probably not even wood. We got a lot of carpet. We got a lot of carpet. But in Memphis talk, we still call this a courtroom. And in this courtroom, the words we talked about last week, presumption of innocence, elements, cases, charges, criminal responsibility, they're not just words. They're the law, and we take an oath to take them seriously and to follow them. even without the fancy wood benches or the big windows. We call this a courtroom. And in here, our job is to apply the law to the facts and to do what's right. Welcome to Memphis. Welcome to Memphis, November the 17th of 2021, in the middle of the afternoon, just after noon, about 12:21, 2, 3, 4 in the afternoon. We'll start. You can stop there. Can everybody see it? Yes, sir. This is Memphis, Tennessee. This neighborhood is close to the airport. It's called Orange Mound. It is a historic neighborhood in Memphis. One of the first predominantly black neighborhoods that had so much history, so much art and culture, and of such significance that it used to be compared to Harlem in New York City. There was a time when it was particularly vibrant, at a theater, arts. It's an important neighborhood in Memphis. It is less than 15 minutes from this building. Like I said, it's by the airport. In the 80s and 90s, it became riddled with crime, with drugs, with poverty, with gangs. It is trying hard nowadays to make a resurgence, to go back to what it was. There are families that have lived there for decades, generations. There are businesses and other things that have been there for decades. What we're looking at here is one of those Memphis businesses, a family business. This is the storefront of Makita's Cookies. This is the front of the store. This is its parking lot in front of it. Makita's Cookies. They sell butter cookies, basically. Some have icing on them. This is simple butter cookie. People say they're real good. In Memphis, they say they're fire. So we got a cookie store that sells fire butter cookies in the middle of the day at 12:21 in the afternoon.
Mr. Hager, you're standing in front of me.
Thank you, Judge. You can stop it here first. All right. So in 2021, people thought that was like a Lamborghini or something because they hadn't seen the new Corvettes yet, really. They weren't around. That is, in fact, one of those new Corvettes. It has a special wrap on it, is what they call that. It's not something you can buy, from the dealership. You have to get that done yourself. Well, here that's a special wrap that the Memphis rapper artist, young Dolph, had on several of his vehicles. There's a couple times in this video we'll just have to wait, but it's a matter of seconds, and it's the last seconds of his life so we can wait for him. He'll stop there first. All right. This taller man here in the yellow shirt, blue jeans, white shoes. His name is Adolph Thornton Jr. You've heard me read it a couple times now. He grew up in Memphis. The neighborhood he grew up in was Castalia, not terribly far from this, also a neighborhood in South Memphis. You'll see a member of his family testify this week, and she'll tell you a little bit about his background and his family. I'll tell you a little bit about him right now, though. He is an ambitious young man who was a rapper, Memphis rapper, who rapped about the things that he saw growing up and that he sees in his neighborhood in Memphis. Some of that is drugs, some of that is violence, some of that is crime, some of that is gangs. Whether or not we agree or disagree as to whether or not that subject matter, are things we should be listening to or not, I can assure you it's real. He rapped about stuff that is real. He rapped about stuff that was real. And one of the things that meant everything to him in terms of what is real is he wanted to make it for himself. He wanted to make it for himself. He wasn't interested. He wasn't interested in joining others. It was all about making it himself. He felt like when he grew up, he called it his come up. That's what he called it, his come up. That it was rough and hard, but it was important that he got through it himself and he wanted to make it for himself. And he made it for himself. As a rapper, as an artist. Young Dolph became famous. Shortened to Dolph. Very famous. Wanted to make it by himself. Wanted to be self-made. But it wasn't just about him. Because he also wanted a record label. He wanted to promote other artists. He wanted to make them famous. And so he started not just his own rap career, but a record label that's called Paper Route Empire. Paper Route. Like a young man or woman would have to make money on the side throwing papers. But also a play on the word paper. Because in Memphis, slang for money is paper. It's sometimes abbreviated PRE, Paper Route Empire. And that is Dolph and the rappers that he promoted. Trying to make it on your own is obviously hard. In this game, trying to make it on your own can create enemies. PRE, Paper Route Empire, his label, is not the only label in Memphis. He's not the only famous rapper in Memphis. Another label, CMG, Cocaine, Music Group. And they became an enemy. They wanted Dolph under their label, but he turned down millions. I want to do it myself. The second time, they wanted Dolph under their label, but he turned down many millions. I want to do it myself. And in this game, whether it's smart or not, there are things called, just in Memphis, we call them diss tracks, D-I-S-S. A rap where I may insult, level whatever sort of insults and everything else I want to in the song itself. And Dolph had plenty of those. And he had plenty of those directed at this other label, the Cocaine Music Group, at their artist, and at their number 2 person. His name is Big Joke. The number 2 person of Cocaine Music Group. Through the years, and I'm talking years before what we're going to watch, having nothing to do with Mr. Johnson on trial, there were highly publicized incidents of violence directed by CMG against Dolph. He even wrote songs about it. Bulletproof. 100 rounds. And he also spewed out the disses and the insults. Stop it there. This man here got out of the car with Dolph. That's his brother. His name's Marcus Thornton. His brother, his friend. This thing that we're about to watch has had a terrible impact on Marcus. Not just his brother and his friend, but he also works security for Dolph. In fact, as Marcus walks in this cookie store, he has a gun on his person, and he has another gun in the car. Dolph was well aware of the threats and the violence from CMG that were constantly hanging over him and his people. We'll wait 30 seconds. Stop it there. That car that just drove up came from this side of the parking lot. It had actually been following Dolph on the street. When Dolph turned in, It went up to this light where it got stopped for a few seconds and then came around. It's a white Mercedes. There's other pictures where you'll be able to see it more clearly. But it's a white Mercedes with back end damage back here on the back passenger side of the car. It's a stolen car. It's a stolen car that our defendant here, Justin Johnson, traded for one car for another at a gas station about 10 hours before this murder happened. This man got out of the passenger side of the white Mercedes. Door's still open. We saw him run to the parking lot. He's here with a large semi-automatic weapon. He's in a hoodie. He's got sweatpants. And he's got white shoes.
Now fam, I don't know if you guys remember or not. It was a lot of play with other young men from Memphis being connected to that scene because they were seen in the vehicle that matched the description. It was confirmed by the prosecutors that StriaghtDropp traded that Benz for another car he had at a local gas station only 10 hours before the demise of young Dolph.
Let's watch Mr. Johnson get out of the car. Can you stop it here? This is Dolph here. Remember, he was wearing the yellow. This is Marcus. Remember, I told you he had a gun. He tries to return fire as these two men quickly shoot Dolph. Dolph's body's riddled with bullets. He shot all in the back, in the face, in the neck, in his arms. The first man out was Cornelius Smith, and he has that semi-automatic weapon shooting wildly into Dolph. The second man out was Justin Johnson, who has a handgun who's firing at Dolph as he lays on the ground. Marcus Thornton starts firing back once he hears the shots. Now we see him emerge from the building. Can't tell in the video, but Marcus actually hits Cornelius in the shoulder, shooting back. I'm going to spend some time with two things. This Mercedes, these two people, Justin and Cornelius. They didn't fall out of the sky on a Wednesday at 12:20 in the afternoon at a cookie store. They had been looking. They had followed them. And for them, this is just business. This was just business. They don't even know each other that well. Let's start with Cornelius. Cornelius is from this neighborhood, Orange Mound. He's in his early 30s now. Cornelius has had a serious drug problem. He does ecstasy and Percocet. He gets his drugs over on Bradley Street, just over 2 miles from the scene, from a man whose name you have heard, Hernandez Gobe. They don't call him that though, they call him Quet. His middle name is Marquette, and it's shortened to Quet. So Cornelius gets his drugs from Quet. Quet is what in Memphis we call an old head. Older guy. Lives in the neighborhood. Lifelong criminal. In and out of jail through the years. Quet sells drugs Quet gambles on sports like crazy, online sports stuff. And then Quet tries to identify young rappers and tries to shop them to CMG, hoping to get a cut, hoping to hit it big. Years ago, he and his brother missed out on one of those big rappers. But Quet knew a young rapper who he was in the process of shopping to CMG. And that young rapper is Justin Johnson, who goes by StriaghtDropp. Sometimes I just call him Drop.
Now fam, that's lled, the young woman who was also an aspiring rapper from Memphis, lost her life in Texas in a video we covered. Her dad, they referenced to him as the old head in Memphis. Apparently he a drug dealer to this day. Not to mention, he been out on bond for this case and his alleged involvement because he's cooperating with the state. Hernandez Govan. And how we know? Because Hernandez told authorities. Apparently this old head be shopping off for talent for CMG as well, giving these youngsters false hope who don't know no better. And that's where StriaghtDropp to CMG come into play. And prosecutors present the CMG versus PIE. Fam, let's put something in perspective and slow it down so we all on track. You got two old heads. Big Juk, we just mentioned, he lost his life at a funeral. Rest in peace. But then you also got this old head who's still selling drugs in the hood. Now there's no ifs and buts about it. It's more than likely his daughter lost her life for his actions. I'll leave the link in the bio if you guys would like to check that video out. But it's also worth mentioning, he the one who telling as well. One of the state witnesses. While you got these young crash outs, fight for their life, chase an early grave, playing with people's life who nowhere near their tax bracket because they thought 100K was something. And the illusion, they'd get signed to CMG, which confirms while after StriaghtDropp had made the mixtape, he couldn't make the roster. Fam, in this final segment from day one, I want to show you guys the ending, what StriaghtDropp and his accomplice did after taking the life of young Dolph.
Here. Never seen you. But not professional hitmen. Not even monsters. I'm not going to call anybody a monster. This is just business for these two. Money for Cornelius, money and rap fame for Justin Johnson. They did the best they could, really. Stolen car. Better to use a stolen car that can't be traced back to me. When we still shot the video, you'll see that they're wearing gloves. Afterwards, the guns get disappeared. The car gets ditched in a neighborhood and wiped down and moved and wiped down and moved. Their plan is to go their separate ways and just disappear into Memphis. They did the best they could. I guess I could have gotten away with it. If you get the guns gone, if you get the car wiped down, get the car hidden for long enough, you're wearing masks, you're wearing hoodies, you're wearing gloves. Do it so quick, but it takes seconds. You get in, you get out, you get separate, you get disappeared, and I guess you get away with it. There's a problem there, though. There's a problem there. Still staring at us. One of the big problems. It's not 1981. It's not 1991. It's not even 2001 when I started in this building. It's 2021. It's 2020. 2021. And what I started talking to you about when I first stood up, what you didn't think about, what we don't think about almost ever anymore. These places have cameras. Places have cameras. There's the hotel lobby. It's walking into the building. It's this courtroom now. A lot of places that have cameras. And also what we don't think about, we didn't have to in 1981 or 91, whatever, is we carry phones around. Phones that can give people clues as to where we were, what was going on. We can wipe down cars. We can use stolen cars. We can get rid of guns. We can disappear in the neighborhoods. We can separate from each other. That is 2021. Now, I guess I didn't think about that. We back up the video about 3 or 4 seconds. All right, we can stop there. All right, so what we saw before was this man first. Remember the one with the automatic weapon, the larger of the two weapons? He got out of the car first from the passenger side. He ran around and shot the gun wildly into Dolph. We're concerned in this trial. Now, Mr. Smith is charged with murder too. So is Mr. Govan. And we've heard that Jamarcus is charged with conspiracy, but in this trial, this is Justin Johnson's trial. This is Justin Johnson. He is wearing tennis shoes that have white soles. You see this one better in this shot. White soles, they're black with a little white stripe. There are times in the video where you can see his socks, and they're white socks. He's wearing gray sweatpants. In fact, there's angles of the video that you can see that this gray sweatpant on this left leg has a little silver-like emblem on it, real small, it's shiny sometimes. He's wearing gloves. See it maybe better there. He's wearing a black hoodie. He's wearing a mask. And he's wearing a Bass Pro hat. Alright, so black tennis shoes, the white sole, white stripe up the middle of the tennis shoes, white socks, gray sweatpants. There is a little emblem that you can see in some angles on the leg. Black hoodie. Here during the shooting, he's wearing a mask, and he's got a Bass Pro hat. Bass Pro store is only not even a quarter of a mile from where we're sitting, right here. There's other angles and other still shots where you can clearly see it's a Bass Pro hat. And there's other angles where you can see the little emblem that it has on his sweatpants. Column video here. There's a building in Memphis. This happens in the historic neighborhood itself, Orange Mountain. But there's a building in Memphis. It's a historic building. There's only like 10 or 12 of these buildings in the whole United States. They used to be, back 7 years ago, Sears buildings. Okay? Huge. Largest square foot building in Memphis for many, many years. At the time, Sears was sort of like Amazon before Amazon existed. Because these big warehouse buildings and everything, you come and place your orders, and they say, it was quite sort of an amazing thing. The need for those buildings went away. In Memphis, the building was abandoned for decades. They have pictures of it, abandoned. And it's crazy. It is the largest square foot building in Memphis, and it was abandoned. In other cities, there were 10 or 12 of these things. Some were abandoned, some were actually even torn down. But a few were repurposed. And in Memphis, over the last 15 years, ours was repurposed and renovated and redone. Amazing building now. It has a high school in it. It has restaurants in it. It has businesses in it. It has a YMCA in it. It has a brewery in it. It has all sorts of things in it. It also has apartments in it. It has 4 floors of apartments. So when you live here, it is a nice place to live. You live sort of like in a shopping mall with your restaurants and everything else right there. Okay? Justin Johnson, 2021, has a mother and a sister that have apartments in that building. The building is 12 stories high. Huge footprint. November 17th, 2021. This is less than an hour before the killing. This is Justin Johnson in the elevator, leaving the building about an hour, really less than an hour, before the killing. Black tennis shoes, white soles, white stripe up the middle, gray sweatpants, black hoodie, Bass Pro hat. In fact, you'll see picture after picture and video after video. It's the same outfit he was wearing the night before. We'll see him in this outfit from 2 o'clock in the morning, same day, all the way up to leaving the building right before the killing. The exact same outfit as that man in the video. A guess as to what kind of car he got caught leaving it at the parking garage of this building. A white Mercedes with back end damage, just like the one we seen in the video, less than an hour before. You can get rid of guns. You can wipe down cars. You can disappear in neighborhoods. But it's not 1981. It's 2021. And from 2 o'clock that morning to 12:23 the same day, he is caught. Again and again. And it's not just before the murder. Cornelius got shot. Can't tell in the video. He got shot in the shoulder. He needs medical attention, or at least need somebody to look at it. You'll see the text messages. You'll see the phone location type stuff. You'll see that Mr. Johnson and Mr. Smith, after they ditched the car in the neighborhood, they have another car waiting. That they go over to Mr. Johnson's cousin's apartment. An apartment complex that used to be called the Two-Lane Apartments here. Now it's called the Gospel Gardens Apartments. We're talking within 45 minutes of the killing. So we have the killing. Cornelius gets shot, ditch the car, get in Johnson's other car, and we go to Johnson's cousin's apartment, 2 lanes, so they can try to bandage up Cornelius, so Johnson can change his clothes, so they can try to get away and disappear. How do we know that? Well, their phones, but not just their phones, because again, it's not 1981. That apartment complex has video. You see them arrive in Johnson's other car, which is a white Expedition. You see them from a distance walking into the apartment complex. You see Johnson's cousin directing them where to go. You see at this point Cornelius has his shirt pulled up weirdly because he's been shot in the shoulder. You see Johnson wearing the same clothes, the gray sweatpants, the black shoes, the black hoodie, the Bass Pro hat. You see him go inside the apartment. At some point you see Johnson come out. Someone else has brought him a change of clothes. You see Johnson get inside that car, inside the back seat of his friend's car, and change his clothes. No longer in the murder outfit. And you see them leave. To disappear almost. Because later that night, we see Johnson back at that big building called Crosstown. He's in his new clothes that his friend brought him at the apartment complex. And he goes to his apartment and he packs up, and you'll see him at the elevator with his suitcase and everything else, ready to get the heck out of town. The contract hit a big joke. The hitman found and solicited Hernandez Gomez, who they call Quet. The hitman, a druggie from the neighborhood, Cornelius, and the aspiring young rapper, StriaghtDropp. And they could have gotten away with it, but they didn't. What we watch up here is so quick. And we watch it and we call it violence. That's a man with a family and with a life who's laying at the edge there in the yellow, riddled with bullets, dead. We watch that and we call it violence. For Cornelius Smith and for Justin Johnson, it was just business. They call it business. What we do here this week, in here, we'll see the video plenty of times. We'll see the crosstown videos, the apartment videos, we still still shots and everything else. What we do here this week together is not violence and it is not business, it's justice. And at the end of this, you will see that both Cornelius Smith and Justin Johnson are caught, and they're both guilty of murder. They're both guilty of conspiracy to commit murder. And Johnson, as he is a prior felon, is also guilty of convicted felon in possession of a handgun. And if being caught on video is not enough for you, you'll also hear it from the Cornelius Smith's mouth. That's me with the assault rifle killing Dolph. And that's Justin with a handgun with me killing Dolph. Even he realizes he's just called.
Thank you, Jeff. Good morning. Good to see you again. Thank y'all for being here.
Check it out. There you have it, fam. That just about sums up day one in the Justin Johnson, aka StriaghtDropp trial for the demise of young Dolph. Let me know how you guys feel about this one. Give me constructive criticism on how we covered day one. I'll catch you guys on day two and also on the main channel.